there it is. All right. All right. Are we feeling ready? Great. You're somehow muted, Victoria, but I can see that it looked like you said you're ready.
I think I just wasn't talking loud enough.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Oh, shit. That was the other thing I need to do.
I said we were actually competing with Hyper RPG, who do a Kids on Bike show at the same time as us.
That's funny.
Hmm.
There we go. Why am I getting all these emails? Okay, I don't care about any of those. All right, I'm going to put the cover over. And everybody can hear me, I just realized, because I'm not muted on the... Hi, everybody. You can all of you who are in the channel right now can hear me, because I didn't have my feed muted. So I'm just going to keep talking at you while you look at this beautiful cover of the Overlight rules book. I'm glad someone's enjoying it. All right. Well, have you looked at it long enough? Isn't it gorgeous? Have you enjoyed staring at it? Oh, there goes the train. Everybody hear the train? As soon as the train passes, I'll switch us over so you can see and hear the rest of our lovely players. There goes the plane. Plane? Train. I don't know where I am. All right. Here we come. We're coming over. You can see us in 5, 4, 3. It's like magic. 1. Look, there we are. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for that. That was special. Good evening. Thanks so much for being here, for sticking around. If you were watching Grim Femmes before, or if you joined us now, that's great too. My name is Eugenio. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm very excited that you are here for this, our final session of Overlight, a beautiful, kaleidoscopic, awesome RPG published by Renegade Game Studios. Let's go around. We are down one of our players, unfortunately, for this, our finale, but let's introduce everybody else before we get too much into it. Let's start with Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I am the producer and DM for The Broadswords, a all-women and non-binary actual play D&D show. Also have produced several podcasting events for Wizards of the Coast, and I am the social media coordinator for Renegade Game Studios. Hello.
Fantastic.
I'm playing Naughty.
Yes.
I always forget that, but I remembered. I mispronounced my character's name.
I wrote all of your character names phonetically the very first session and then promptly lost that piece of paper. Nat, let's hop down to you.
Hello, I'm Nat Rose. You can find me on Tumblr or Twitter. Please don't go find me on Tumblr. You can find me on Twitter at Nat Rose with a Z. I think Victoria and I might be switched on Twitch Overlay, actually.
I just switched y'all back.
Oh, good. What do? Actually, lately I've been live experience of Final Fantasy, so let's ignore what I'm doing because it's a fiasco.
Oh, your microphone is freaking out, and it's thrilling, but also terrifying.
It is kind of terrifying.
Sounds like you dumped your mic in a cup of water.
You sound like an APB radio. Like, you know.
do.
Is it still doing it?
Oh, that's a little better.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's better now. There you go.
It's been having a good day. My partner took the good headphones to work.
Y'all, it's V Monday, and I'm V excited about it.
Anyways, I play Conra, who is having one hell of a time right now.
Last but most certainly not least, Diana.
Hola, as I go by Diana Moon online, I use she, her, and I play Yaida, the Autumel from Vale, who has still lots of secrets.
Yes,
abound.
Indeed. And tonight we are missing Alicia. She uses she, her pronouns. She normally plays Siggy, the Pyroi Ember Tongue. You can find Alicia online at NNG98. She streams a couple of different places. She and I have streamed together a few times now, and she's great, and we're very sad to be missing her this evening. All right, housekeeping before we hop into this epilogue and review session. First of all, thank you so much for being here and for watching. If you don't already, you should follow Variant Roles here on the channel. We're at 995 followers. We need 5 more followers to hit 1,000. We have, by my count, what do we have? 29 days to do it in. So we got plenty of time to get 5 more followers. If you haven't followed already, just hit the little heart button. That way you'll be notified whenever any of our awesome games go live. You should also follow the channel on Twitter, because when we are getting ready to do new games, that's one of the ways that we reach out to try and find new players and new community members. So you can go to, on Twitter, you can go to @VariantRoles and follow the channel there. What else? I think that's kind of it. Okay. So we need a recap of all that you have done since you all came to Hark and met up. Who wants to start? It doesn't all have to be on one person, but somebody can start us off.
Nodi arrived at Hark, was very confused about the lack of nature, and promptly climbed a crane and happened to meet Conra through that exercise.
Indeed.
And then everyone else.
Conra made a scene and everybody else showed up.
That seems like the subtitle for most of the season so far, but yes.
Just a bit.
And then Nodi hung out with some weird person who sent everyone on a quest.
Yes.
Everyone else decided to go to a party, a masquerade party, and they murdered a bunch of rodents.
Yes.
Wore their corpses on their faces. And then went to a party, got a key.
Yep.
Stole the
We
key.
used that key to descend some spiral staircases for a week.
Yep.
Broke into a prison, got someone out, made a leap of faith into the air, and now we're heroes.
And now you're heroes. Yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it. I have to say that was efficiently done.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see. What can I tie in a little bit? So basically, this is the story of 4 Skyborn individuals who are the sort of heroes, as it were, of this world, of this setting. And as Nodi said, they all sort of met up largely by happenstance / the scene that was created, and met up with a 5th fellow Skyborn named Faradon Lux, who sent them ultimately on a multi-stepped mission to find and retrieve his mentor, a Banyari from one of the other shards, known as Shatu Hak, a master of the green chroma. And so that's what they did. They went to this party, they wore rodents on their faces, they descended into the depths of the shard. It was all very exciting. And ultimately, they were able to defeat the warden, or one of the lieutenant wardens of the hanging prison, a dark and twisted prison built on the underside of the floating continent of Hark. They're able to go down there, defeat the lieutenant warden, rescue Shatu Hak, and make a leap of faith out into the open air, only to land on a flying creature called a mist ray, sort of like a giant manta ray or stingray. And now they are making their way back up, or they have made their way back up to the surface to discuss what's next for them.
I think last we saw us, we were hanging out in a lounge.
Yes. Oh, that's right. The golden, what's it called? The golden circle or something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yes, absolutely. So there was a lot of sort of information that was passed on to you all about events that were going on. Shatu Hak told you all that you were in danger and told you a little bit about this cult called the Unlighters that seek to, well, in general, they take issue with Skyborn like yourselves because of the way that you manipulate and split what they believe to be the holy Overlight, the holy and inviolate Overlight. And so
So essentially, they're just jealous.
basically,
Yeah.
they're super jealous that they can't do
Yeah.
it too. But it
They
turns
just don't
out...
like us being special.
Well, look, when you're boring and just like to hate on people. But what you found out was that there is a smaller, more secretive sect of the Unlighters who wish to specifically target these unique and unusual individuals, even more unique and unusual than you, Skyborn. People like Shatu Hak, who have the ability to control single chroma. Just the one chroma, and usually it is the chroma that is associated with their home shard, which is, of course, unheard of pretty much among Skyborn. But this seems to be an even larger offense in the eyes of some Unlighters. And so ultimately, in saving Shatuhak from the hanging prison, you actually ultimately saved her from an Unlighter plot to destroy one of these chromatics, as they are called. And so she has set you on a path to... for some of you, anyway, to possibly investigate and protect and warn some of the other chromatics that there is a rather large conspiracy forming around their destruction. But it turns out that though that all sounds extremely dire and extremely urgent, it turns out that this sort of plot has been around for quite some time. And though everything seemed to move quickly once Shatu Hak was taken into custody on Hark, really that was just sort of the culmination of a very long process to sort of get to that point. And from what Shatu Hak and Faradon, the Skyborn, who is also with you, from what they are able to ascertain, it is unlikely that the Unlighters will make an attempt on another chromatic anytime soon. For one, they like to take their time and plan, and for two, the fact that you all spoiled this plan is probably going to make them even more cautious. So odds are you've got some time. Mm-hmm. Which of course is lovely for all of you, because it lets me ask the question, so what do you all do? The world, all most of the 7 shards are kind of your oyster. You have the means now to get between the shards should you desire. You are aware of some of your powers as Skyborn. You have access to some of the resources of the Skyborn Order, which Faradon has inducted you into, and of course any resources that Shatu Hak and her tribe of Banyari might be able to provide are also more or less at your disposal. So until such time as your services are needed again, what do you all do?
I mean, I'm not against all of us traveling to the Banyari Shard and having an Ewok epilogue.
I can think of no better way to spend some time, but that's just me.
I mean, I'm for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Shatu Hak is more than happy to provide the services of her Miss Dre, and of course Faradon Lux would never turn down the opportunity for a party. And so with no objection, after you spend the rest of that day sort of resting and recuperating at the Golden Circle, you all mount up again, as it were, and the experience of flying between shards. Now, Yaida, you have traveled between shards because you were a deckhand, and so have been on skyships. Obviously, you traveled from Vale to Hark.
Yeah.
Nodi, same with you, although I don't know if maybe, was this your first time off shard when you came to Hark this time?
Yes.
Yes.
This has all been very new.
So it's still fairly new to you. You've moved shards once, but only the once. Conra.
Never. And it will take some convincing to get him to.
Yeah, I mean he took some convincing to have him jump in the first place. And that
Conra
was
at that moment was under the impression they were leaving Hark then.
Not that you would have to get back on a Mistray and fly away a second time.
Yeah, no, he thought, oh, this is it. I am leaving the continent.
All right, so in that way, perhaps he's mentally prepared, but then there's
Oh,
that
no,
whole...
not at all.
Fair enough. So let us presume that eventually Conra is convinced to go. What preparations do you make for this trip?
I think first he goes home and tells his family that he's going away for a while. He has family.
What kind of adventurer are you that you're not a depressing orphan with terrible backstories about how your fathers were...
one. Yeah. No, he has... Both of his parents are still alive, and he has a twin brother who is into even more dubious science than him.
Evil twin brother?
Just a bit.
Okay, all right. So we're not breaking all the tropes.
Not all the tropes. No, his twin brother aspires to be something on the order of a biologist. Conra prefers machines. Yeah, but he goes home. He tells the family.
Do you bring any of us home?
Oh.
I mean, I think he might, just on the premise of if they followed him, he wouldn't stop them.
Well, Yaida doesn't really have a place to go, so...
Right,
Neither does Nodi.
Yeah, and Siggy could, she could, I guess, go back. She technically was in Hark to deliver a message to the Pyroi representative on the Council of Seven. So she could theoretically probably go and stay at the council chambers, but that doesn't sound like any fun. She's for sure going to go with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I go with you. I'm like, hey, I want to meet your family.
Is all your family as studious as you? I mean, clearly your brother is.
No,
but...
brother is. I think the parents are very boggled by their children. I think their parents are very normal.
Well, it's a good thing that you just walked in with a Banyari, a Pyroi, and then a masked Aramel.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those, well, they can't do anything further to surprise us, and then Conrad does.
and then.
Yeah, and then.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. But like they're parents, they're decent-ish parents.
Of course.
They're just a little confused.
Sure.
Now, is your twin exactly like...
Oh.
He's pointier.
He's pointier. Spoken like a true artist.
Yeah. Now, he probably cuts his hair a little bit more severely.
Sure. I love it. All right, well then, so there you head, and it's quite the awkward moment for at least a bit. But you inform them that you're leaving. It sounds like your parents would be supportive, if sad to see you go.
Yeah.
Brother undoubtedly asks you where you're going. And if you tell him you're going to Banyan, he's going to want you to bring him back, at the very least, all kinds of observations about the natural life there, if not samples.
Well, I can tell you
casually
all about
step
it.
in front of Nodi. No samples.
Oh, no samples. That's good. Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Oh, 3 days later, you all leave Connor's household. Yeah, I mean, while you're packing, I think your brother is definitely having a little chat with Nodi. Mostly he's curious about the hearthwood trees and exactly what that connection is like, and sort of I guess he sort of starts with purely the physical differences between the different tribes' hearthwood trees. Hearthwood trees.
Do you feel the pulse of your shard?
He looks fascinated and confused and definitely shakes his head.
Then you don't know what a hearthwood tree is.
It's like you picked the exact words to pique his curiosity even more. All right. So, anything else, Conra, at home that we should be aware of?
Not at home, no.
All right. Yaida,
Probably
you expressed some concerns last week about the state or your status in regards to your ship, which you left a week ago.
Well, I didn't expect that to be a long mission, but I think we briefly mentioned that Siggy would help with that, since that's what Siggy does.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So you and Siggy can deal with that together, while Nodi has a conversation with Conra's brother, and Conra packs.
Yeah. So my main concern was, well, is the ship still here? And if they are still here, whether or not they're here because of me or maybe prolonged business. But my idea was, or what I understood from the captain was like we weren't supposed to be here that long anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of hoping they just left. Like,
Yeah, I think so. So the first place that you and Siggy are heading is to the docks to just check out and see purely if the ship is there. Yeah.
yeah.
So you get back and you head to the berth where your ship was to be docked, and it really you end up getting pretty close because there is a ship in that berth. But as you get a little closer, you realize that it is not, in fact, your ship. It appears that your ship has left.
I sigh a big sigh of relief. Like, okay, that's a problem I will have to worry about another time. And I'm sure Siggy's giving me the most like, kind of look.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have you got your dice with you?
Huh?
Have you got your dice with you?
Yeah. Well, I use a roller online.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. In that case, make me perform a wisdom perception test. Would you?
Alrighty. So that's D6s all around.
With your spirit die, don't forget your D4.
I only got one success, so I'll use a spirit pool
Okay.
to make that two.
All right, so
success.
spirit flare. So you're a little bit on edge because on the one hand you're glad that the ship is gone, but on the other hand it seems maybe too easy, and you're not really used to anything being too easy for you.
No.
Yeah, so you're a little on edge. So you look around and you don't see the ship. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary, but your spidey senses, your spidey senses tingle. And you happen to notice a couple of berths down. They are well hidden, but they're not being inconspicuous about the fact that they're watching you and Siggy. You see a couple of individuals, of RML individuals, that you quickly realize are other crew members from your ship, and they are, without question, watching you.
Okay. That's unusual. That's not good. I try to, because technically Siggy is bigger than me, I try to use Siggy a little bit as cover.
Sure.
And I let Siggy know, so I think they left a couple of shipmates for me. It is not good if they get me.
Do we need to punch them?
We might.
She
But
smiles.
preferably
She smiles real big.
not in public.
Never in public. Okay. So are you? What are you doing? Siggy will take your lead, for now.
I definitely don't want to head back towards Conrad's place because like they have family and everything, and I don't want to get them in trouble.
Sure.
I think it's like, well, it had to happen. If we get it out of the way, I'm kind of muttering to myself, I'm kind of like shifting my mask a little, which again is not something I ever do, really. I go, all right, you know, Harkeen obviously better than I do. Maybe we'll lead them to an alleyway, then we can go with the punching.
You said the magic word, so Siggy is all about that. So you all, I mean, there's plenty of alleyways and dark corners on the docks. And as you all sort of start to head to one, you keep a good eye out, but it doesn't look like, at least at the moment, it doesn't look like they're following you. They just sort of clock, they clock where you're walking as far as they can, and once you're out of sight, you sort of stick around, and Siggy, being as tall as she is, tries to keep an eye out as well, but you don't notice them coming anywhere in your direction once you've passed out of their sight, out of their line of sight.
I think I'll have us wait just a few more minutes, just to make sure that they're not trying to do any other maneuvers, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I am definitely super paranoid. And after that, I was like, all right, maybe they'll just, I don't know. I think it'll be safe to go back to Conra and them now, if they're not following, right?
Don't seem to be. And Siggy, keeps an eye out as you all sort of start heading that direction. But you all don't notice anybody tailing you. Certainly not people that you recognize.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you make it back to Conra's, and when you all are prepared, when Conra is packed, when Conra's brother releases Nodi from his interrogation, is it off to Banyan?
So I have a favorite tree, and in that tree is a great big squirrel nest, and it's lovely. There is this lovely family that comes there every spring, and we have a good time playing hide and seek.
Aww.
I think I'm like happily enjoying all of Nodi's stories because it's like all happy kind of stories and very like community like, and I'm just like soaking it all in.
Nodi
It's
is
very
like the
wholesome.
sweet grandmotherly next door neighbor that everyone deserves.
I do love it. And the stories continue until eventually you all do get to the edge of the shard where Huck and...
You can see it! There's the tree line! Oh, look at that! Oh, yay, we're almost home!
And somehow, incredibly, because if you remember, like, when you were flying before, like, Faradon kept trying to yell at you and you couldn't hear anything. Incredibly, Nodi is making herself heard.
Conra's been trying to read while flying, and it's not going well. Yeah, he picked up a book on Banyan on the way, and it's just the pages are blowing away.
I love it. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh.
I've been trying to like just like read Nodi's lips because it is hard to hear and everything. It's like, okay, I think I got that. Like throughout this whole trip.
I think like Nodi's sitting backwards on the mistray to like face everyone.
Yes. And I think Siggy's being a little she's being Siggy, and I think after your encounter, Yaeda, with the folks on the pier, she's a little tense, and she just sort of keeps an eye out throughout the entirety of the flight, but nothing ever sort of nothing catches her eye. No other ships or anybody tailing you through the sky between shards. And it is if you're able to appreciate it, it's a beautiful flight. The overlight sort of coming down and, being in parts of the overlight that are just coming directly from above and going down further than you can even see. And as you crest, as Nodi starts to see the tree line, the vibrancy of that green, the way that it reflects the overlight and just shines like an entire shard of emerald and sapphire where the lakes and waterfalls are. It's just absolutely stunning.
Conra's never seen a large body of water.
Oh.
Or a forest, I think.
There's trees.
There's a few trees, but not like this.
Yeah,
not to the expanse.
Conra's never seen nature, and he has no idea what the hell it is.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yaeda's used to lakes, and because like most of everything is on islands technically, and so, but I think what gets her mostly is like the lush greenness and knowing that like this is the home of compassion. Mm-hmm. Which is what their chroma is, and it's like getting almost excited for. I think up until this point they were kind of being like Siggy, a little like paranoid.
Sure,
but since the trip was but then like just going in with Nodi's like enthusiasm, it's like like almost like when I first arrived on Hark was like, here's a new shard, here's farther away, like everything's open, like believing what the others had been saying about, we can travel anywhere.
Yeah, and it's suddenly very real that you can travel anywhere. But for now, you are traveling to one where in particular, which is Banyan. Now, Nodi, are you all headed for your Hearthwood? Did you want to go to Hawks to start with, or did you want to go home? She doesn't she's, it is up to you.
I wouldn't mind going home.
Yeah.
There are people I would like to say hello to. I haven't seen them in a long time. And oh my gosh, they haven't left Minyar before. And I have so much to tell them.
Absolutely. So she guides the Mistray towards your area of Banyan, towards your hearth tree, the Verthod hearth tree, and what does it look like? What does your hearth tree look like?
It is a great big. Let me see. It's a great big banyan tree.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a
Absolutely.
banyan.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Let me Google this. Okay, so it is this great big banyan tree that has these multiple trunks and branches that spread out all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But because this is Banyari,
Mm-hmm.
and because this is a great big shard full of these things,
Yeah.
it is monstrous.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those great big trees that takes like 10 people to hold hands to like stand around.
Uh-huh.
It's massive. And like for a Banyari, it would take like 30 Banyari
Right.
to hold their hands and stand
Right.
around. And so it's like a banyan tree with all of the multiple branches and trunks that stick up. And it's huge, but it's monstrous.
Right.
And it is super, super, super tall, multiple stories high into the canopy of this forest, of the Great Forest.
I love that.
And you can see at the base of it, there is like a special ritual temple.
Okay. I like
kind of
that.
thing.
Sure.
Yeah, at the base of it. And you can go inside, and the roots and hanging bits are kind of pulled aside for this entranceway that you can enter in. But it's definitely made for Banyari sizes. So if anyone else wanted to enter it, they would have to crawl hands and knees to get in. But once you're inside, it's actually quite open. With like a fireplace in the center where, you know, they can burn herbs and things and make it all spiritual and
I love
all
that.
that kind of stuff. But yeah, you definitely have to crawl in, and it's this big communal place.
And being a big communal place, it is not empty when you arrive. There are quite a few other Verthod Banyari there. To meditate or to perform rituals or whatever. I don't think it's a big organized ceremony or anything.
No,
but
sometimes we just set up our own wind chimes and
Yeah.
have musical wind sessions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that.
And I think a few of them recognize you immediately, Nodi, and are so excited to see you back. And with new friends, which they initially startle a little at, perhaps. But once it's clear that they're with you, I think they are probably welcomed with open hearts and minds to this place. Excuse me.
Hello!
And just choruses of not identical sounding, but very similar sounding timbred voices, just saying, "Hello, welcome back. Introduce us to your friends."
This is
They all have
Yara,
the same energy. Like,
and this is
Okay.
Conrad and Siggy.
They
I
just
met them on Heart.
just all of them like this for Siggy. Just straight up.
Siggy's just like sitting cross-legged because they can't actually stand.
Yes, definitely. Even sitting, I feel like she's probably kind of hunched. And a few of them run off, and they say, "We have to let everyone know that you're back." And so it becomes a joyous reunion and welcome home. And of course, it is eventually suggested that there must be a party to welcome you back, a feast, a banquet, a celebration that Nodi is home, and that there are 3 new friends for the tribe to celebrate with. And so...
And is Chateau Hawk with us?
Chateau Hawk did not go in or initially with you all. She had some other business with the tribe elders who were not in the Hearthwood tree at that moment, but she is there for the party for sure, as obviously is Faradon. And they sort of set up a whole sort of like dais area with like, you know, revered seating for Chateau Hawk, and she's having none of it. She just wants to be with you all and to enjoy the festivities. And
I think I tell Kana, see, you'll get a party when you go home. Isn't it great that you left?
Hark doesn't really work this way.
Why not? This is fascinating and very welcoming.
Your brother seemed great. I'm sure he would throw a party for your return.
The people of Hark, the city is, for all the people in it, it's a lonely place. Everybody has their own agendas. Everybody has their own modus operandi. Everybody has their own path that they're on, and they sort of don't really make a lot of time for other people like
Even
this.
your family?
I mean, they love me very much, but sometimes it's in a selfish way. They love me because it's a thing for them, not because it's a thing for me.
But at least you do have family.
That's true.
But Vale is
My
somewhat similar
family.
to Harkeen. Everyone is most definitely out for themselves.
Sort of.
We should all live here.
It is very warm.
Very nice.
I think they would need to accommodate for Siggy a little bit more, though.
Yes, isn't it a party phrase anyways to
Siggy
raise
is
the
like
roof?
on her belly being like,
Well, if you want, we can go out into the trees. The trees are very tall.
I can see that.
Are we allowed to climb them?
Yes.
magic words.
I'll race you to the top.
Magic words.
Amazing.
I love it.
And I run out.
Yeah, I think
To
Ada
race.
would because of Nutty's energy, like it was just yeah,
Absolutely.
would do something as silly. Like, yeah, I can do something silly like that.
Absolutely.
Ow. What? And it's not silly for Nody. Like racing up a tree is the pastime of things.
It's so good.
Yes. And so as you all head out and race around on trees, Siggy just sort of I don't know how much she really has to leave the ground at first until you all venture higher into the branches. but while you're out there and having a good time in the trees, you see that in fact the tribe is beginning to come together and set up a sort of little banquet area with places to sit and all manner of foods and open
of
space,
grubs.
lots of grubs, lots of vegetation. But they are doing it all outside because they did realize what you all realized, which is that Siggy and Conra and Yaida as well, but Siggy in particular will be much more comfortable for this party outside, out amongst the trees. And so while you all play in the branches, they set all of that up, and eventually one of them calls up to you and just says, "Should we have the party in the trees, or would you like to come down?"
Both. And I hang upside down.
Yes. Yes.
Conra has stayed on the ground.
I think the Banyari who called up to them, Conra, sees you down there on the ground and sort of shows you over to where all of the tables have been set up, and there's some music playing sort of softly at first. It's just some wind chimes that at first you don't even sort of really recognize it as music because it just is these, this beautiful sort of chiming in the breeze. But the longer you listen to it and the more Banyari sort of join their musicianship to it, the more it becomes clear that there is in fact a sort of a melody to it and a rhythm and a shape to the chiming on the winds.
Ooh, this
How-
is my favorite.
How thick are the trees? Like, if I went to the top, would I be able to oversee, or is it just so thick that?
Oh,
that's
like
not
the
really-
canopy, you mean?
Yeah.
I think the canopy is pretty thick particularly in this area around the Hearthwood trees. I don't
Okay.
know that you'd be able to see the ground from the very top.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious. Like, I
Yeah.
think that would be something Aida would like want to see, like just to see like
Oh,
all
yeah.
this like free land kind of thing.
Still definitely a beautiful
forest.
view, even if you can't
Oh,
see
yeah.
the ground right below you. It's just an amazing sort of vista of green with the occasional sort of lake running through, or waterfall, or whatever it is. So tell me a little bit about what happens at our Ewok Banyari party. Let's have some scenelets. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say someone else besides me because I've been.
I mean, we'll get to each of you if I have my way, but yes. So who's doing what at this party?
I think Connor's not really much of a party person. Like, he was fine at the last one we went to because he had a purpose in being there,
Right.
and it was not to party.
Right.
He's the person that gets drunk at a family function just to function at the family function. But no, he's gonna go talk to Faradon actually, if
Okay.
he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Faradon is dancing currently with two
Lordy.
Banyari. And you, at Conrad, as you're looking for him, he spots you and for sure waves you over to join him.
Right. Yes. I was wondering if I might have a word about this Skyborn Order thing.
He nods enthusiastically and says, "Absolutely! Right after this dance. Come on."
What do you mean after the? Oh, you don't expect I'm not doing that.
And the two Banyari will come over to you, and they're not going to drag you into the dance, but they're going to put out their hands invitingly.
Oh boy. He'll let it happen.
Okay. So they bring you in, and they continue their dance, either in spite of or with Conra. It's perhaps unclear to those around, but
Yeah, Conra dances like a white mom at a wedding.
yeah, it's different styles. Faradon has his own style too. He's not built like a Banyari, so he has to modify things. Oh, absolutely. And it's delightful, and you get a few other Banyari come over, and they start dancing with you and sort of imitating, not making fun of, but it's just a new dance that they've never seen. So they start doing your thing.
It's like the Macarena. It's so bad.
Absolutely.
Their tails get involved.
Yes. Yes, they've got this going and the tail's going that way.
You'll need to like roll for athletics so you don't accidentally trip over them.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we pan away from Conrad dancing and hoping desperately that the song will end soon. So Faradon can have a conversation with him. And meanwhile, what else is going on at the party?
I think eventually I do climb down after a bit. Like, as much as I enjoy this, I want
Sure.
I haven't been to much parties. Technically, my first one where I was invited was that awful RML one. So yeah.
Low bar
so
at least.
Yeah. Can only go up from there and less bloody.
Right.
Hopefully. So I think I go and like partake in like the different foods first because I'm just like curious about like, Banyari kind of food and everything. Enjoying the drinks because I think they did promise Siggy that there was good wine here or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing that and I'm just like
Moon
bopping
wine?
to the music a little. Yes. Moon wine.
It's wine made out of the dew collected
Oh, that's right.
in plants. I don't know. I'm making this up.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
That works.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm talking to anyone specifically or like, but if anyone comes up, I'll like chat.
Oh, they for sure will. They're very curious about your mask. Respectful, so that but very curious about it, and
I tell them it's like it was made out of driftwood because like I think I understand like you don't want to destroy a wood.
Sure. And they super appreciate that, and eventually a couple others come over and they have plates full of food that they sort of set in front of you, and then they join in the conversation as well.
And I'm just like enjoying the fact that Conrad's out on the dance floor. Like, oh, I didn't think you had it in him.
Yes. Yes. We see a brief flash of Siggy holding the tiniest little wine glass that's just sort of being constantly refilled.
I'm just imagining that one little bit from Tangled with the unicorns.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I love it. Well, all right, Nodi, this is home. So how are you celebrating your return?
Oh, I'm I'm being very sneaky,
Oh.
and I am trying to put something in the punch.
Oh. Sneaky, sneaky. What are you putting in the punch?
Sneaky. I'm just having a grand old time.
Mm-hmm.
I have saved Shatu Hak.
Uh-huh.
I'm a hero.
Yes, you are.
In my view, I am a complete and utter hero.
Absolutely.
I have done everything in my life that I could possibly achieve.
Totally.
So I am now going to try to whatever that word is to the punch.
Spike.
Spike. Yes, there we go.
All right.
That's the word.
All right.
I'm trying to spike the punch with dew wine.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to this. Does the dew wine what's that gonna taste like? Is it gonna be inconspicuous?
I think it's fairly it's kind of herbal.
Okay.
Right? Because it's taken on some of the taste of like the plants that the dew is collected in.
I imagine the punch is also rather plant flavored. So okay, I'm with you so far.
I mean, it's Minyari.
All right,
Fruit's
right.
a plant.
Absolutely, I'm with you so far.
Yeah. So dew wine tastes herbaceous.
Mm-hmm.
So I have made mint wine.
Oh.
In real life. So it doesn't taste super minty.
Uh-huh.
It just tastes like herbaceous alcohol.
Okay. All right.
So picture 20% alcohol that kind of tastes like plants.
Okay. Great.
Wow, at least Minyari know how to party.
I know, right?
So you've spiked the tea.
Yeah. Yeah, and without much trouble. I mean, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of punch flowing. So that.
Yeah. So you just see me, this tiny little mammal with a succulent growing off of my back, just like crawling on my stomach.
Mission Impossible.
Yes. Like on my elbows crawling, so you just see the succulent.
Perfect.
Nothing else.
Yes.
I blend into the dirt.
Nice.
Perfect.
With my like pitcher of like I'm hiding my little bottle of dew wine.
Yes.
And I'm like crawling forward behind a table. And then if anyone's paying attention, they just see a bottle like periscope up.
Yes.
And like pour in to the punch ball. And then just disappear.
Conra and Yaira, why don't you two perform wisdom perception tests?
Okay.
Let's see what you notice. Since Nodi is blending in, we're gonna need a radiant success or better to notice this.
I have 1 success and 1 success on a spirit die.
A 4 on the spirit die. All right, so that's a luminous success. So you do notice that you don't see Nodi anywhere, but you don't see Nodi anywhere. How about you, Yaida?
I got 2 successes and a 4 on the spirit die.
Okay, so unfortunately that won't bump you to a radiant, but you can have another spirit point, because you're just having a wonderful time. You also notice that Nodi seems to be nowhere in sight, but again, Nodi is nowhere in sight.
I'm not too worried.
Nah, no reason to be. You all both are having the punch, I presume?
Yes.
Connor's afraid to eat or drink anything, actually.
She think
I think
He saw grubs on the table and he was like, maybe I will pass.
maybe not.
I think
Oh.
I switched from having the wine to having the punch. I was like, oh, I should probably be not doing anything.
Good. Well, that's going to turn out really great in a little bit, but we'll get there in a moment.
Yeah.
Connor's drinking water.
Nodi, I think
Pretty sure it's probably the best water you've ever had, too.
Probably very pure, yes.
I think as you get to maybe the second or third punch bowl, Nodi, as you're trying to sort of army crawl up to the next one, I think you run into, like, you headbutt into something or someone, and you look up, and there is another Banyari doing the exact same thing you are with their own bottle of dew wine.
Incredible.
And at that point, I bump into them. And I'm
I
like,
need this animated now.
I look up. I'm like, and then we just like
Same hat.
both pour double the amount in that one bowl.
Yes. Yes. And so as
My
this joyous evening goes on, it gets significantly more joyous, let us say. And Conrad, you of course observe all of this with your water. But Siggy never stood a chance, because even as big as Siggy is, like, that dew wine ain't messing around. And that's just what Siggy is drinking. Yaida, I don't know how much punch you have, but if you were unfortunate or fortunate, I don't know, it depends on your outlook, I guess, enough to pull from the double-barreled one that progresses things that much more quickly for you.
Yeah, I think I'm like teetering between absolute drunkenness and just being extremely tipsy.
Totally. Enough to have a great time and not enough to regret it severely in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time and I don't care about tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm like, when I'm not crawling behind the scenes, I'm on that dance floor.
Yeah, you are.
I'm hanging from branches and swinging around, and like I'm just having a grand old time because in my head, I'm a hero.
Absolutely.
You are a hero.
And
Not
I'm
just
a hero
in your head.
coming back home,
That's right.
and I'm like, woo! I'm having like the best time of my life.
Absolutely. Conrad, I think you probably can get a question in with Faradon before he is.
Oh, Lord.
So
Yeah.
if you have a question about the Skyborn Order that you would like for him to answer, he could probably manage that. But much
The
beyond
question is a two-parted one, but it is a single question. Which is, are all Skyborn ever, like in existence, a member of the Skyborn Order, and can you find them?
that.
Like,
No.
can I find a specific one?
Right. No, they are not always. And there are different conclaves of the Order that sort of have different tenets and different purposes and different goals, though they are all, in theory, a part of the same overarching order. But they're all pretty separate. None of their... Let me think real quick through the different conclaves if this is true. I believe that none of the conclaves have like secret headquarters or anything, so you could definitely find headquarters for each of the conclaves, and they may have some record of where their members are. But beyond that, no, there isn't a sort of mystical
There's
connection.
no registrar. There's no
central registrar, no.
contact sheet.
No, not a centralized one anyway.
Right then, this will be difficult.
Faradon looks curious for a moment and then has another slug of punch.
I hope you don't mean slug literally.
One never knows. At the very height of the merriment, the tribe leader of the Verthod and Shatuhak sort of stand on that head table that was set up that Hawk had sort of been avoiding for most of the night. But the two of them go over there and stand upon it and sort of motion for quiet. Shatuhak's her emerald heart is pulsing somewhat more brightly now that the light has begun to be obscured by is Zenith above Banyan? Banyan's the third
so.
shard?
Bunyan is the fourth.
What's the third shard? Oh, Quill.
Oh, we're counting from the top down. Never
Yes,
mind,
from the
it is
top.
the third
Oh,
one.
it's the third from the top. Okay, yes. So in that case, Zenith has begun to sort of pass over this portion of Banyan. So it's gotten a little darker. It's this sort of beautiful twilight, and torches have been lit, and the tribe leader of the Verthod sort of raises their arms for quiet and says, "We celebrate tonight our sister's return, and her great triumph with her new friends in returning our beloved Shatu to us. It is an honor," and they turn to Shatu Hawk and say, "It is an honor to have you among us tonight, and you have sung the praises of our sister Nodi and her friends, and we are truly, truly honored to have you and to have the four of them with us tonight. It seems that the great Shatu has a few words that she would like to speak to us tonight." And once again, as you saw happen at the prisons, the roots on Shatu's chest above her emerald heart begin to sort of uncoil, and the light, that green, compassionate, warm light, spreads over the entire sort of gathering there, and you all hear in your minds, again, Shatu sort of does not speak aloud, but speaks into all of your minds and hearts, and she says, "Thank you so very much for having me here tonight. And thank you for being open of spirit to welcome these strangers, these," and you notice her sort of look in Nodi's direction, "heroes here tonight. They have performed a great service, greater even than simply bringing one of Banyan home. And there is greatness in their futures. But for tonight, we celebrate their return, we celebrate their accomplishments, and I celebrate them with gifts." And she pulls from her bag a little sort of pouch, and she pulls a few things out of it. One of the things that she pulls out is what looks like a strip of bark. And Nodi, will you make me, because I think you're the only one who might know what this is, will you make me I don't have my sheet in front of me, but probably folklore. Perform a folklore test. Let's do that.
Oh, good. I'm very good at this.
Oh, good.
Okay, so that is 3d10 and 3d8.
Oh, yes, that's very good. And of course, your D4.
Yes.
Spirit
you know
to
what? So
die.
I have all of my dice like in a giant pile.
Good.
Not good.
Bad.
Yes, bad. So how do I differentiate all of them? Okay, where's my d8s? Where are those diamonds? Diamonds, where are you?
While you do this roll, she's going to bring out the four things sort of separately, all together at the same time before she presents them. So the other things that she pulls out what looks like a little, maybe like almost like a charcoal puck, like that we would use like at a barbecue or whatever. Looks like a little charcoal nugget of some sort. She sets that down. She then pulls out what looks like maybe some sort of I guess it's a book. It appears to be some sort of thinner bits of wood bound in some thicker bits of wood. So it kind of looks like a book. And then she brings out a very small wooden carving of some sort that before any of you get a good look at, she also sets down on the table in front of her. So Nodi, have we done that folklore test?
I indeed have.
Great.
I have a 10.
Great. Well, that's one.
2 8s.
That's 2, 3.
And a 6.
That's 4.
And I rolled a 4 on my spirit dice.
All right. So you had 4 successes, so a 5th success won't change the rating, so you can have a spirit point for your spirit pool with that 4. The 4 successes is a radiant success. You recognize this immediately, just because there is a connection. You feel something coming from this strip of bark. You get the feeling that this strip of bark is a piece of Shatu Hawk's hearth tree. Sometimes the trees, and in particular her hearth tree, naturally shed bark and leaves and things like that. And more often than not, those shedded bits are left to be reintegrated into the soil and sort of the circle of life. But sometimes they are gathered and kept as honorifics and as sort of symbols of friendship to a particular tribe, and that is what that piece of bark seems to be. So she asks for Siggy to step forward first, and Siggy steps forward, and Hawk picks up that little charcoal puck, and she hands it to Siggy. Excuse me. And there's sort of a few of the Banyari around. As they get a better look at the little puck, they sort of gasp. And Hawk says to Siggy, but all of you can hear, she says, "You come from a place of hardship, of fire, of struggle, and of terrifying challenges. There is no better symbol of that on Banyan than this. A nut from our most tragic story, that of the Walrulthing tribe. There are few of these left. Their hearthwood was burned, killed, and they slowly, painfully are losing their connection to this land. This nut has shown no sign of connection to the mother tree, of life within it, and yet we hold on to it because there is nothing left for the Walrulthing but hope. And you, Siggy of Pyroi, you are a symbol of hope as well. Whether or not you will ever have any interaction with the Warulthing tribe, whether you will find some way to save them from their ultimate fate is not the point. The point is that you, like all Skyborn before and after you, represent the hope for a better world, whatever that may look like. And you have proven to me and to all here with your actions that you are indeed a hope that we can count on." And she hands Siggy the puck, the nut from that tree.
Nodi starts crying.
As do several of the Banyari in the clearing here. Next, she calls up Kanra.
He'll go up.
She reaches down. She bows back to you, and she reaches down. And she picks up this book-looking thing, and she.
Does it look any more or less like a book up close?
It does look a little bit more like a book. The pages are pretty stiff. They haven't quite mastered paper making in the way that the Harkeen have, but it definitely does look more like a book up close. And Hawk says, "This is a record of my experiences here on Banyan. When I realized that there was something different about me, about my connection to the Overlight, about my destiny and my future, I began to keep a record of the things that I saw and experienced, the uses for the green light that I discovered, and much, much more. It was always meant to just be something for me, but now that I have had the opportunity to travel away from my home, to meet others from beyond Banyan, to connect in small ways with other chromatics, I realize it would be a great disservice to the world to keep this for myself. That said, I don't think of myself as such a scholar, as such a writer, that my writings on their own would do much good to the world. But you have a way with words, with knowledge, with records. If anyone can decipher and make use of and continue this work, it is you. And she hands Conra the wooden book.
I'm honored that you find such value in my intelligence. I will try my best to honor what you've given me with it.
She says, and this is just for Conra. They just, to everyone else, it looks like they're just sort of standing there staring respectfully at each other for a few moments. But Conra, you hear her say, "Your doubt in yourself is understandable, but I hope that soon you can leave it behind." And the emerald heart in her chest pulses, and of course she doesn't have the power, nor would she want to use it if she did in this case, to change your mind about anything, but at least there's a bit of warmth and a bit of extra comfort that comes your way.
Leaving things behind is always the problem. And you bow and go back and stand with the others.
She calls Yaida forth next. And she picks up the little bit of carved wood that you now see, Yaida, is a tiny mask in the shape of a Banyari face. And she says to you, and to everyone to hear, she says, "It is my understanding that the masks of your people symbolize much more than who you are in this moment, but from whence you come, the history of you and your line. We do not have similar traditions here in physical manifestations, but this is my token to you, to remind you that no matter where your past lay, nor where your future lies, a part of who you are, a part of your mask, is always at home here on Banyan. And in the trying times to come, when it seems that there is no quarter for you to call home or even a haven, let this be a reminder that Banyan can be such a place for you."
This is when Yaida cries. Like, she was managing to hold it in, but then she like looks down at the little carving and like traces like the minute detail in it, and she almost wishes it was big enough for her to actually use. She didn't say that, but like she's thinking it.
Sure.
Because she's a little lost for words. And she just clasps it in her hands, like very reverently, and finally like takes a deep breath and goes, "Thank you."
And a similar thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I know. It's just I really appreciate that I have a home to come to now. I was worried I would always have to be adventuring.
A little hand rub like the small of your back because like I'm reaching up.
No.
And you feel that just like a hand, just softly, like, I'm here.
No.
Yeah.
I don't say anything. I'm like, I'm here.
Oh,
And that
well,
kind of makes
welcome
her
everybody
cry a
from
little bit
Unmade
more.
Gaming. Glad to have you here.
Hello,
Oh.
everyone.
Thank you for the like. It's like a good cry though. But
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
There's also that moment where the two seem to stare respectfully in silence at each other for a moment. And Yaida, Hawk says to you in this moment of private communication, she says, your secrets are yours to keep or give away as you see fit, and it is not my place to guess at them. But whatever they are, there is nothing so terrible that cannot be wiped away by the deeds you choose to do. And the deeds you have done have earned you a place here, whoever you are.
I nod, and again, I just thank her, and I probably don't have, because even though I did get different clothes, like I don't feel like tucking it away. Like it's a mask, and it's a very special mask, even though it's a small mask. So I just keep it in my hands, and I bow, a very Aramel-esque type of bow, and then like step away, still holding like the mask in hand.
And finally, Nodi is beckoned forth.
Buddy wobbles up. Very, very happy. Nodi has been into the dew line. For every time that she has like poured something into like a punch bowl, there have been like Nodi doesn't normally drink.
No, I gathered.
No, but this is really exciting. Like Nodi left her shard for the first time ever, because generally Benyari do not leave their shard, their home shard. Benyari, and especially the Verthod Leafkin, which is the background that Nodi has, they're very independent, and they're very Benyari. They stay rooted, so to speak.
Right.
The only reason she left is because she is a Skyborn. So there's that thing inside her that says, no, you have to leave. So she had this vision with her meditation that said, no, you need to go and do your thing. And she honestly thinks this is the thing that she had to do.
Yeah.
She doesn't think there's anything else. Like, this is a complete story, beginning and end.
Right.
For her. So she thinks she has gone off. She has been a huge hero. And now she's back, and she's just having a grand old time at the age of like 52. She is very happy and quite tipsy and just smiling from ear to ear.
I love it. Shatu Hawk matches your smile, as does your tribe leader, who sort of steps up next to Hawk at this point. And Hawk picks up the bit of bark from her hearthwood tree, and she addresses everyone as she says, Nodi, you have come to your powers and your destiny later in your life than many. And yet your accomplishments are no less for it. Indeed, what you have accomplished in such a short time rivals the first years of many Skyborn. And there is yet more. What that more may be is yet to be seen, but your time as a Skyborn is not over, and my guess is that your time away from home is not over either. Surprising though it may be to you, and everyone who can see your face sort of gets a chuckle out of that, surprising as it may be to you, we understand a Banyari's connection to their home, to their hearthwood, and she sort of gestures at the tree here, and to the shard as a whole. And so your tribe leader and I have worked together to bring you something. And she puts her hand out, sort of gesturing towards your staff, your wind chime staff, as if she's asking to hold it for a moment.
Okay.
So you hand it to her, and she takes it, and your tribe leader steps forward, and he also has a piece of your hearthwood tree, similar to the one that Hawk has from hers, and he hands it to Hawk, and she takes the two pieces and just sort of gently wraps them around your staff in two different places, and you see her sort of close her eyes, and the roots in her chest completely unfurl, and the green light sort of washes over everyone and then focuses in on your staff, and you watch as those two bits of hearthwood tree sort of graft onto the staff and begin to sprout tiny little leaf buds as they become a part of your staff. And after a few moments, the green light fades and the roots cover up most of her heart again, and she opens her eyes and she hands it back to you. And as you take it, she says, "No matter where you are, there will always be pieces of home with you as long as you keep this staff. And because you are special, so too is this gift. For the bits of hearthwood that were given to your staff are more than symbolic mementos of Banyan, your home. They are, in fact, living pieces of our hearthwood trees. Through them, you will always feel the connection in your heart to where you come from, and know that as long as you live, and as long as your hearthwood tree thrives, you will be able to draw on that connection for solace and comfort wherever you may be among the shards." And as you take the staff, you feel exactly that.
Thank you.
And
I'm literally crying, by the way. I don't know if you can tell.
Aw.
But, like, I'm literally crying. There are tears here. So just picture a little rodent who's 2.5 feet tall, crying as a similar rodent who's 2.5 feet tall.
Yes.
Gives them a staff.
Well, the particularly similar to 2.5 foot tall rodent, your tribe leader, sort of looks around and like clearly just throws ceremony to the wind and like comes over to you and gives you a great big hug.
I sob into their shoulder.
Aww. And they sort of pat your back and gesture for someone to get some water.
I've had too much too wine.
I know, Nodi, it's gonna be okay. And Hawk sort of looks around and says, "Well, so much seriousness. What happened to the music?" And she gestures, and some of the Banyari pick up their wind staves and begin their melodies again, and the party continues and goes on long into the night. And you know, as much as my instinct is always to like continue the story to the point of a cliffhanger, even at the end of a season or a series or whatever, because it's exciting, I don't know. This is lovely. I don't think we need to add on to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need my signature ladder hanger this time around.
Can I add a scene then?
Of course you can. Absolutely. Yes, of course
If we're not going to go cliffhangery, then I want to add a scene.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely you can.
I think it's probably like closer towards the end of the party.
Yeah.
Like, half the Banyari has probably passed out. Like either on the dance floor or wherever. It was like, it was such a big celebration. And I think like after that presentation, Yarita definitely still had like more fun, like had a good time and everything, but like she was very mindful of the mask.
Sure.
And so I think like she would have asked everyone, like the four of us, to like, oh, I need to tell you something, away from everybody else.
Nodi is half sober.
It's an
I will
improvement.
carry Nodi.
Yeah. And I think I look at Siggy first because I'm pretty sure Siggy's like been the most suspicious this entire time. And I was like, well, how do I say this? So, as you know, the RML, our masks are significant.
Are they?
Very significant.
Ooh.
Generally, we don't ever take off our masks in front of anybody. Usually, if you are lucky to have family or close ones, that's when that happens.
Don't you get sweaty?
I chuckle a little bit at
Oh
that.
boy.
It depends on the mask, yes. If you were lucky to be born in certain status in RML, you would get a good mask. If you're extremely lucky, you'd get to create your own mask. I was not lucky at all. This mask I'm wearing, I stole. Because the mask that I was given as a child was a bag. And I'm sure none of you know what that means, have never been to Vale before.
It doesn't sound pleasant either way.
It's not.
That's generally how you're strangled.
Oh, I was going to say publicly shamed.
Oh.
No, we had collars to worry about that. I was a slave. And I think at this point, which I'm going to do, but like at this point, Yaida takes off their mask.
Oh. There's a lot of flowers going on there.
And you notice the scars. It's a little bit hard to see, but
Oh, it's
Oh,
not
you
hard
did
to
make
see
up.
at
Oh
all.
yeah, you
I
can see it. Yeah.
yeah, across. There have been a few Skyborn who were slaves, and if they had a master lucky enough, they got to earn their freedom and do as the Skyborn are meant to do. I was not lucky, and I had to fight my way out. And I had done an illegal magic that caused me to escape to pretend to be someone else. And it's with that I was able to get a deckhand mask and be someone else.
I appreciate what you have shared with us. And I want you to know. And I reach out for your hand. Do you let me take your hand?
Yes. It's a little shaky.
Yeah, and my hand is very small. So it's like a child, like a toddler's hand in yours, holding yours, and furry. You are part of my tribe. And you always have a family and a place to be with me.
Thank you, Nutty. I really appreciate that. And I think because she's still a little tipsy, it's a little easier to emotion.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and tears up again.
Nodi actually, okay, so this is Nodi is compassionate passion, well, is not her main virtue because she can't.
Right.
Because this is of her species, but it's still a major thing.
Sure.
Of her species.
Right, exactly. Just culturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, this is a lot for Nodi. Because the whole concept of slavery and everything, well, she understands what that is. To actually, like, face it, holy crow.
Sure.
That's a whole other thing. And I think Nodi suspected.
Yeah.
But
there were hints.
Yeah, there were some things.
Yeah.
However, Nodi also is never traveled beyond her shard before, so she can never be sure because she has no idea. So she's holding your hand with her little furry paw. She's like, yeah. And then she sees you cry, and she actually goes up on your face. And because she's not humanoid, really. She's different than humanoid. She's very animalistic. She actually goes up, and her little tiny pink tongue goes up and licks at your tears. Aw, very delicate, concerned way.
Aww.
Conra is too awkward for physical reassurances and also doesn't know what to do with them, but he's sort of like, forgive me if this is presumptuous, given it's only been a week for me, but isn't part of the point of being a Skyborn that you can change? That you are different from the people that you came from? I think you can be whatever you want, Yaira. I don't think it's necessarily dictated by what somebody else put on your face when you were born.
It's something a lot of us on Vale have to learn, even the non-Skyborns, that we're not stuck to where we were born. And that's why I had the feeling that I had to leave, even before I realized what a Skyborn was. But you were right, and what was said today. And I pull out the little mask again, because it's like, this is, it's cute, and it's a gift. Like, this is like the most reverend gift I've ever received. Like only good families get to do this. Like, they bestow a generational mask to someone that you're worthy, and this is like the whole of Banyare saying I'm worthy. So I just like smile and nod, and it's like, yeah, I think from today on I'm going to be someone different, someone that's more me.
Are you going to make your own mask, or are you not going to use one?
I haven't decided yet.
And Siggy, who's been passed out on the ground among you all this whole time.
She just looked like she was listening. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
Leaned up against a tree and fell asleep.
She begins to fall off of that tree, and she starts and goes, wham, a punch.
Okay, wait. Is this what you did to Nodi when I wasn't here?
No.
No, Nodi got to have quality time with Faradon.
Oh man. I love it. What a lovely scene. I love it. Well, there's plenty that our Skyborn now know about and are involved in, and may or may not choose to get them to as their lives as Skyborn continue. But I think for now, that's where we say a goodbye to them. It has been a joy getting to know them and watch them on this adventure and watch them get to know each other and grow. And it's been super great. And you all have been such wonderful players and storytellers with me. And I can't thank you enough.
You've been a great GM.
No,
back
thank
at
you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's easy when my players are so helpful and creative. We do have about 25 minutes, and I would love to just sort of talk a little bit about Overlight, because it's such a cool system. And if you've watched some of the other episodes, you may have seen I sort of did my best, particularly when we got to a new mechanic, to talk a little bit about it, and to talk a little bit about the lore of the world as we went and all of that. But I'm curious how you all thought, because it was all of our first time playing. So I'm sort of curious what y'all's experience was. Of course, I have no shame. So Victoria, if you want to say anything officially or unofficially, I don't know, from your end about the game, I'm also super cool with that. But I just think it's such a cool, beautiful system with such a unique set of lore. And stories and world building that I think it's worth taking a little bit of time to talk about, because it's definitely, at least for me, when I met Terry with you, Victoria, and sort of got the little rundown about the game, was one of the things that I thought was so interesting about it. So what were y'all's experiences playing? What did you like about the system? What was interesting to you? What was weird or confusing? What as much as I'm a bit of a shill sometimes, like, we don't have any official ties, so you can say whatever you want about the system. So what did you like? What didn't you like? What was interesting? What was confusing? Yeah, what'd you think? And if anybody watching has questions and wants to toss those in the chat, I know if you want to continue to lurk, that's super cool. But we've got a fair number of you in there from what I can see. So if you've got questions, toss them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer.
Yeah, definitely. If I can't answer it, because honestly, I've never actually, like, I just started working for Renegade in September. So I'm still learning.
Yeah, totally.
And especially Renegade released 30 games this year.
Yeah, y'all have been busy.
Yeah, and we're releasing about 30 more next year.
Woo!
That's intense.
So, I can't know everything.
Y'all, speaking of, y'all should go and check out, they've got a great Cyber Monday sale going on. So if you want any of those 30 games that they put out, now's a good time.
We do have a great, and if you're into games like Kids on Bikes, or you want to check out Kids on Bikes, we have a holiday bundle for you.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's great.
Yeah, there's a Kids on Bike holiday bundle, which you get a whole bunch of the stuff at a very much discounted price. So you can check that out at
Are you guys
renegadegames.com.
selling the PG folders? I know they were a Kickstarter, because I got that's the only physical item I got from was the PG folders, but I want to get more than one.
The folders are part of the bundle.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I have one here.
Nice. All right, well, go check that out. RenegadeGameStudios.com. Super cool stuff there.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we think about Overlight?
I'm really fond of the dice mechanic, actually, where you have different dice assigned to your stats. I'm very fond of that.
Yeah, they call them ratings, and it's sort of a different take on it, but it's definitely super clear how good you are at certain things, right?
Yeah, it's really easy to read, and it's really easy to know how good or bad you are at a thing, and it lets you actually use your entire set of dice, which I find very nice. Like, I was joking throughout this, I've never had to use a D12 in my life playing D&D.
Totally.
And I finally got to, and they rolled great.
Yeah.
I like D12s, it turns out.
I like that you can also buy successes to a point, because there's a lot of systems where you can only win by a number of successes, like the Spire system and everything.
Right.
But they're extremely hard to get to those numbers. So I like that you can at least get a minimum of a success by a spirit pool, as long as you at least got one. So I really like that about it.
Like a narrative emphasis on putting in actual effort in character, which is nice. It ties the system back to the story.
Yeah.
I like how open it is for interpretation.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of role player. I'm not a war gamer.
Totally.
Nope.
I'm more there for the narrative and story.
Same.
I mean,
Me too.
I like a war game.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But when I'm playing a tabletop RPG, wargaming isn't my thing.
Sure.
So what I like is that this system fosters that more narrative story.
Yes.
Like, combat is not a straight up, you have this action or this feat to do. This is, you have this suggestion of what you can do. Now, what do you do within this suggestion?
Yeah.
And that that appeals to me.
Yeah, definitely. And it says throughout the rulebook, encourage your players to get creative with the combination of virtues and skills for tests. There's a whole little sidebar about, like, where are all the weapon stats? They don't exist because we don't care. Make it an interesting story. Like, they very much lean into that in the rulebook, which was very freeing for me as the GM who also doesn't really know the system yet, to just know that, like, the idea is that I can say, roll some dice. Tell a story.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Now, for people who really like those rules, those concrete, this is X and Y equals Z, or sorry, Z for you Americans.
Your Canadians coming out.
Yeah, I know. X, Y, and Z. Maybe this system it's not going to appeal to you because you like those hard limits and those hard rules.
Yeah.
But for people who are into that narrative and into that storytelling and that collaborative framework, this is perfect. And I know we joked about it at the beginning where it just is.
Yeah.
That's part of the rules. Is it asks you. It says, "Oh, why is there no sun?" Just is. And it asks you for that sort of thing. And I like that sort of thing because it allows me to use my imagination. It allows me to contribute to the world at large. So that is a huge factor for me that I love, is it doesn't dictate everything to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no almanac on the world here.
Yeah.
You can kind of fill in the blanks yourself.
Yeah. And so every game can be different.
Yes.
It's just up to the interpretation of the people who are playing it with you. And that's so much...
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Even within the rules for Chroma and the descriptions of Chroma, which is your sort of magic system, which, in D&D and in other role-playing systems, like, that is pretty specifically spelled out. Here, some of them are very specific. You can roll initiative again, right? That was one of the ones that Siggy used. But a lot of them are just sort of this general thing happened, and we didn't get to any of the shatters, which is where you start trying to use Chroma when you don't have enough spirit. But, like, a lot of those are super weird and narrative and may or may not have any actually explicit mechanical effects at all, but are incredibly rich in storytelling and roleplay opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the ones that I didn't use had some really messed up kind of mechanics.
Well, that's the other thing.
If I had messed up and shattered it.
Some of them are like your hair falls out, and some of them are like you turn into a statue and die.
Yeah, no, the chroma that I didn't get to use, I was going to if we had a hard time getting Shatuhawk out of the cage, actually, was a Ghost Charm, which lets you walk through walls and you can take a person with you if you spend an extra spirit point. But if you shatter it, then the more times you shatter it or the worse you shatter it, you get stuck.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like splinching yourself when you teleport in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and like with in our show, like I used my ability to look into the future and see things and see what's happening. But one of those shatters are you become obsessed with it and you can't leave it. And you're always in this state of like, ooh, all this stuff is floating by you and you don't know it is real or not.
Yeah, similar for the one that I used on the show that lets you like see into the history of things.
Yes. And
you don't know what's real and what's the past anymore.
So cool.
Yeah.
Like some people would think, oh, my character is effectively dead. I can't do anything with it. And you know what? Some people, that's fine.
Totally,
and you start a new character. And you just, as long as you know that that's how the system is, that this is a potential.
Yeah. You either work around it or you get creative.
But I'm of the type of person who's like, if Nodi had shattered and was stuck in this foggy cloud of the future or what could be, I'd still play it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm really into that, and that's very story heavy and story based. But if you're trying to play a game where you're trying to win every time, well,
Right.
that's not.
Right.
This is not the system for you then.
Right.
But yeah, what I loved about the chroma, it kind of reminds me of the Doomed playbook in Masks, is like you always know if you use these specific like abilities, it's just gonna get technically worse. So you can just like, so you get to technically you can choose how the negatives are gonna happen, because you'll know if you have enough spirit point or not, and you're gambling.
Right.
It's not like suddenly you're gonna shatter. It's like, okay, I have it like a good like if you only have 3 spirit points on it and you're rolling a d4,
There's a good chance you're gonna.
Yeah.
Right.
I also really liked the character creation, like because D&D, while you can still play around in character, it all depends on whether or not the GM allows you to use, like, the extra books or whatever. Here, while it's still kind of guided, like, it was still pretty fun, like, especially since I was like, well, I'm not going to be the deckhand one. I'm going to be the slave one. So what do I have to do points-wise to pretend to be a deckhand and still have the slave background? And so that was really interesting when you told me, like, oh, you can do this, but you have to buy that. I was like, all right. So that affected how to buy chroma. Because, like, one chroma I didn't use, which is the same one that Chateau Hawk had, was the Emerald Heart.
Yeah.
It was the only time you could get it for free. Was if you bought it in character creation, you get an emerald for free. Because otherwise, emeralds are expensive, are extremely. So this was like a free one that, and to use it, you don't shatter, you just use it up. So I would have to literally shatter the Emerald Heart to give people healing.
Right.
And then I'd be stuck until I was able to afford another emerald if I ever wanted to use that. It's like almost a one-time use chroma if you don't have the wealth points for it.
Right. Yeah, the character creation in this, I mean, it's essentially a classless system. There's a system of backgrounds that give you something, but it really is a very open-ended character creation system with very few hard and fast, right? The big hard and fast is that you can't take a core virtue that matches your folk and your shard. But other than that, it's sort of like put the points where you want them.
Yeah. And that's really cool. I like that, because then you can be whatever you want. You can mix and match and do some really cool things. Nodi could have been a bunch of different people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, my points are in some weird places.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, it allows you to create vast types of characters.
Yes, it's not about min-maxing.
No, it's not.
No.
And I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Me too.
A lot.
And that said, there's in some ways that open-endedness leaves a little bit of sort of extra complexity, which might be confusing or overwhelming for folks who are new to RPGs. But like any good game that expects to have new players, there are pre-generated characters right in the core rulebook that are available for you to use and play. Even if you just want to mess around with them a few times or use them as templates for building your own. So there's a lot of tools and resources regardless of your experience at RPGs in general.
Yes, and they're like in the back of the book, just like you ran for us, there's an adventure. And we as a company at Renegade, we are releasing supplements and adventures for free. There's currently a supplement that's coming out very shortly.
Very cool.
That we're just going to release on our website, and here you go.
I love that.
And then we will have adventures as well. So there's lots of content.
And there are adventures out there now. So this one that we ran was the one right out of the core rulebook. There was one that you all published and gave out during Free RPG Day the year before the game was published. I've run that game in a test one. I can't remember what it's called. I have it here somewhere, but
either it's the Child of Zenith or the Birthright of Karulan.
It's the Birthright of Karulan. Yep. Yeah. The Child of Zenith is actually was one possibility for where you all would have headed next. But the Child of Zenith is another one. There is also the Ivory Mausoleum, which is a super cool, slightly higher level higher level, whatever that means, but whatever, adventure. So there's good material out there to sort of get you. Aha, there it is. Yeah, that's the Birthright of Karulan. I see the RPG sticker. Let me see. I'm going to have to move my light, so I'm going to get darker for a minute, but I have the other ones up here. This is Child of Zenith here. Isn't this art just stunning? And then, where is...
You're muted, Victoria.
We're speaking quietly. Oh, here's Ivory
Yeah,
Mausoleum.
Those are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think that's what drew me to the Kickstarter was just the gorgeous artwork they already
the art
had,
was
the
lovely.
colorfulness.
Yeah. Well, and
very vibrant.
I've been scrolling through a few of the little art bits in the core rulebook and putting it up on the screen just because some of it is beautiful. Even the one I have up now is a Firewing bat on Pyroi, and presumably a Pyroi woman on Pyre and a Pyroi woman. It's not in color, but you can still. It's just so evocative, even in grayscale.
Honestly, I really like a lot of the like more grayscale sketch arts a lot. 'Cause they remind me very much of like animation stills and keyframes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's one
And
of a
so it feels
Tyrixian,
very animated.
the bird folk, and it really.
Dice everywhere. And the
Yes.
The
gems
GM
Oh,
screen,
yes.
are gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
So
They also provide a lot of, while we're looking at that beautiful GM screen, they provide a ton. The whole first, what is this, chapter 1 is just all, chapter 2 is all about the lore of the different shards. It's such a cool world to play in. And each of the shards, there's another game that I can't, similar actually, although in a completely different way, but similar to how, if anybody is familiar with the RPG Torg, that
I've heard of
has, yeah, so the idea of Torg is, and this is all very secondhand understanding that I'm about to bestow upon you, but my understanding of Torg is that the sort of central event of that game is that our world and our reality is being invaded by these alternate dimension realities that take up certain geographical areas on Earth. So Western Europe becomes the cyber papacy, this sort of futuristic religious cult, and South America becomes sort of the lost world, so dinosaurs come back there. And anyway, the point is that there's all these different styles and themes and motifs that are available within that one system of game, and very similar to that, Overlight, the 7 shards of Overlight really give you a ton of different themes and tones to play around in, from the very confusing and mysterious and super weird, almost not quite Lovecraftian, but like very weird top shard of Nova with the philosophical giant centipedes, all the way down. You wanted so bad to play a Nova, Pendra.
I did.
I know you did.
I wanted to play.
I know.
Meditating. Well, I was just picturing like the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, 100,000%, yes.
And I was like, I want to be that. But you can't. It's not a playable race.
It's not a playable race. They are occasionally Skyborn, but it's not currently a playable race. There's also Zenith, where you're encouraged to team up with another player to create the bonded pair of Hamanu, which are these baboon-like creatures, and human monks from Zenith that bond in companionships for life. And there's all kinds of like cool chroma, like partner chroma that you can do. So if that's sort of the style that you want to go with, then you can adventure on Zenith. Obviously, as we saw tonight, Banyan is this beautiful verdant world with these symbiote Banyari creatures that are connected to the land. Hark is the big city. Vale is sort of the...
It's very mysterious. It was amazing to see there's the Dome City where they do a lot of military secret weapon stuff. It was implied, and there was a whole other city where not even visitors can meet, and it's implied that they have blood sports.
Oh shit.
Yeah, at the same time they're supposed to be the Renaissance shard where it's just all music and arts, and it's that's what drew me to it.
Reminded me a little bit more of ancient Rome.
Yeah, very much so.
It kind of reminds me of VTM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I read about them, I was immediately like, yeah, that's like vampires.
Yeah,
Little
totally.
bit. Secret society kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one I
there's
won't
so much
play.
in there. And the other thing that I will say that, for me, as someone who I'm the type of D&D player, and particularly DM, who I have a brain for existing lore, and I love playing within existing settings. I love almost all of my games are set in the Forgotten Realms because I have read Forgotten Realms tomes voraciously, and I just sort of know a lot about the realms, and I love to integrate that. And I totally get that is not everyone's cup of tea, but for me and for people like me who it is, it was. I will admit it was a bit of an adjustment to play in the world of Overlight, because not because I didn't know everything that I wish I knew, but because everything I wish I knew doesn't exist yet, right? It is a fresh enough setting, but once I was able to sort of accept that in my heart of hearts, that the answers just don't exist out there, what a cool world to get to play and invent and create in, right? That whole thing about chromatics, it is true that Shatu-Hawk is unique in that she is the master of only the green chroma, the compassion chroma, but all that stuff about the chromatics, I made that up because Victoria rolled that premonition thing, and I had to give her some big information. So that all came up on the spot. And let's do that. And my lore brain, my canon lore brain, it didn't matter in this game and in this setting, because it can be whatever we want, which was very freeing to people like me who, when we play in established places, feel like we want to be beholden to that reality.
Yeah. And that's something I really love about the setting, is you can just make it be whatever you want.
Absolutely.
And you can make it be whatever you want as a whole group.
Yes.
And
yes.
that, in the rule book tells you that. It straight up says it is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that is freeing. And now, I'm someone who loves a good supplement, but I'm also the type of person who's like, yeah, whatever. Let's do what we want to do.
Yeah.
So for me, this has just been wonderful.
It's very cool.
Because
yeah,
we
absolutely.
can create it together.
Yeah.
And when you're playing in a shared world, sometimes you can be kind of scared to do that.
Yeah.
So this was very liberating because we could just do whatever we wanted.
Absolutely. And it was right because we said so.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what's nice about this being I'm excited for if there are going to be more and more supplements for this for Overlight, because it's generated such a beautiful world in the core book, but we get to technically say whatever we want, and there's no one saying, well, in canon this didn't happen
Right.
in this book of that,
Right.
10 years ago kind of thing, which isn't always fun.
30-year-old novel.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, I write fan fiction. Canon is a sandbox, and I am a child with a shovel.
No,
Yes.
I have been working as I get deeper and deeper into this hobby and this industry and this community to let that go, but
No, I mean,
It's
lore,
nice to have
having
things
that
like
back
this.
lore, having that back lore,
backlore is
referencing
great.
what happens in Vale was really fun to do. It was just oh yeah, because
Totally.
no one else
What
knows.
happens in Vale stays in Vale.
Pretty much,
Totally.
because no one else will know it, at least in character.
It's veiled.
Yes, it's veiled. They are
It
masked.
took me
Yes.
this entire time to catch on to that.
Oh man, I've been so busy playing around scrolling through the rulebook that I didn't notice that Lauren had joined us in the chat. Hey Lauren.
Yes,
Oh, yes. Hi, Lauren.
Lauren is an awesome human being.
Yes.
Yes,
indeed.
Lauren is. Hi, Lauren.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep scrolling through art while we do our outros. So, hey, thanks everybody so much for joining us for this session. If you missed any of the other ones and want to see a little bit about what we've been talking about tonight, you can go to youtube.com/variantrolls. Check out the playlist of our other 5 episodes there. For the moment, this is the end for Nodi, Yaida, Kanra, and Siggy. Who knows what the future may hold, but for now, we are saying goodbye to them, and we so appreciate you being here with us through their journey. So let's go around. Let us know who you are, who you played, where we can find you on the interwebs, and if you have any last thoughts about Overlight or our sessions together, toss them in there. We'll go in reverse order, so I think that means we start with Diana.
Yeah.
Great.
Hola, I go by Diana Moon online. I use she, her. You can find me on Twitter as Diana Moon or here on Twitch or YouTube as xDianaMoonX. yeah, that's about it right now. I hope to see everybody else in like other awesome shows, play with y'all again in other awesome shows, either on Variant Roles or somewhere else. This was a great system, and it was such a delight every week. This past 6 weeks, it's crazy.
I know. I can't believe. I love it. All right, Nat.
Hi, I'm Nat Rose. My pronouns are they, them, or he, him. I played Conra, who is maybe going out into the world to find somebody, but it's hard to tell, and he's kind of off to the races. This has been a fantastic time playing with all of you. Diana said it very well. I hope to see you again on other streams and maybe to play with you again on other streams, because that would be amazing. You're a great group of people. This is a fantastic, wonderful, colorful system, and I hope to get to play with it more.
Yeah. All right, Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria. You can find me at Mimi Merlot on Twitter, or you can find me at the Broadswords. You can also join me on Thursdays at Play Renegade on Twitter. And on Thursdays, we do a Thursday Tales, which is essentially a choose your own adventure game that we play in different systems, and we are currently working with the Overlight system.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we are. And we will be continuing to do that for the rest of the month. December is our Overlight month. So come join us on Thursdays for Thursday Tales. And we have actually, this week, we just finished character creation. So we will be starting at a choose your own adventure next Thursday. So join us in on there.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. I'm going to have to do that. All right, and once again, I've been your GM. I'm Eugenio. I use he, him pronouns, and I thank you so much, the three of you and Alicia. I think I'm going to maybe see her at PAX in a few days, so I'll thank her in person. But thank you all so much for being awesome. Like I said, it was a lot of fun diving into a new system. And thank you so much, Victoria and Renegade and Terry over at Renegade for providing the materials for us to get the chance to do this. We super appreciate it. And yeah, it's been a blast. If you all out in the world are going to grab Overlight and play some games in it, hey, let us know. You can find me on the Twitters at DMJazzyHands. You can find my podcast, The Last Refuge, at DND Last Refuge. You can also tweet the channel at Variant Roles and let us know if you're playing in the Overlight world, and let us know how that goes for you. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, go ahead.
Well,
You
at
guys
Play
too,
Renegade would love to hear about it as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of, if you haven't already, we are 5 followers short of our 1,000 follower goal by the end of the year. So just hit that heart button, follow the channel. We would super appreciate it. We've got a ton of stuff going on. We will be saying goodbye, but there's still awesome stuff every single week on the channel, and you should know about it. You can also follow the channel at Variant Roles. And if you have the means and would like to support us further, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/variantroles, or you can subscribe here to the channel, and that's super helpful in helping us keep the channel running and continuing to expand and improve and make great programming for all of you. I'm just continuing to scroll through this, but I think maybe that's enough of that for now, so we're going to take that away from the screen and say thank you all so very much one more time. We hope to see you around Variant Roles. Have a lovely evening, stay hydrated, and happy gaming, y'all.
Cheers.